Richard Crouse.
Well, Peter told me that you told him that you were as nervous about this character on a day-by-day basis as you have been about anything you've ever done in your career. And when I watched this movie, I thought that he was such an interesting mix of vulnerability, of pathos, of a bit of a hard edge to him. There's a lot going on here. Was it just that kind of mix of contradictions within the one character that made him so difficult to play, or made him so challenging for you?
Well, I did study a particular form of mental retardation, and it's kind of like if you play a cop, your main concern is, will cops believe it?
Right.
Like I played a soldier in this movie called The Messenger, and I just was at first I was doing my salute was wrong, and you really want to be. Yeah, like there's a lot of things that a soldier could watch and go, no, So that's we had someone there to make sure, this colonel. But anyway, it's the same thing with this. I don't want it to be a thing where at the end of it, some of the people that I met or their parents or you look and say, well, that is not realistic. So that's a part of where the nerves being a jangle. I was, I just felt like I was a little out of my turf. I didn't really. It's one of those things that you can study it, which I did, and look at it from a lot of angles, but that doesn't mean you know what you're doing on the day when they say action. And they started with that Sandra Oh, all the interviews. That was the first day.
Oh, really?
And that was just like, I swear to God, it's kind of like hitting the ground running, and I didn't know, is it work? And in the end, I really liked the result, but I was a little nervous.
Well, I often wonder why, and I hear this so often from actors, the first day of shooting always seems to be like a nude scene when you don't know, a love scene where you don't know the other person, or like the most difficult emotional scene that you have. I don't know why it always works out that way. Maybe Sandra was only available for a few days or something. Why do you?
Yeah, that had to do with her schedule, actually, because she was shooting. But I'm kind of glad that it happened like that, because I didn't, it pushed me to. I had to be at a certain level of, shall we say, just kind of knowing what I'm doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, but. At the end of that day with her, the first day with her, or no, maybe it was just one day she shot. Might have been two, but anyway, at the end of that first day, I felt like, okay, I'm kind of getting ahead. Rudy reminded me that my buddy who drives me, I love him, I've known him for years, and he reminded me that I got in the car and I said, Rudy, I think I'm getting it.
What made you want to do Defendor? I mean, you happen to, other than working with Ron Mann a little bit, which that stuff wasn't even shot here, you haven't worked in Canada particularly, I don't think, have you?
Oh, I did do a movie, prize winner of Defiance, Ohio. Right. I shot in Toronto.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just thought it was such an interesting, original, compelling script,
right.
I really thought Peter did a beautiful job in the writing, but, as it turns out, I think he's a really good director, too.
Yeah. How do you hope audiences react to it? I mean, obviously you hope they like it, but what do you hope an audience takes away from it? I mean, is there a message here at all, or is it pure entertainment?
Well, I guess you could look at it as like a thing of empowerment, but you could also look at it as a vigilantism, so I don't know. It's a message. That's really a Peter question.
Yeah.
I don't know about the message. I'm not sure what the message is now that you
Well,
ask him that myself.
I'll tell you, the reaction has been really good from the press people that I saw this with. I live here, so we get to see things in advance, so I saw this a week or so ago, and it was one of those little movies, the little movie that could, people have responded really, really well to it. And I think it's because of the, people want to root for your character. A guy, what I saw was a guy trying to sort of, figure out his life, pull himself up and figure it out and do something about it. Now, there, you could call it maybe a vigilante story, but I didn't see it that way. I just saw it as sort of in a more universal way, as someone, really trying to make a difference in his life. And maybe that's what's appealing to people.
I think maybe that's thematically what's going on. It's just a person who's just looking at what's going on in the world and says, it's wrong and I want to do something about it, And, if you think about it, he's kind of right. Even though I don't really believe in vigilantism, I think he's kind of right, And I like the fact that it's all him going after Captain Industry, Because to me, I look at what's fucked up with the world is the captains of industry are greedy bastards who control the politicians, and so in a way, it's kind of cool that that's who he's going after.
Yeah. Richard Crouse.